'cause we lost everything. We had to pay the price. I saw in you what life was missing. You lit a flame that consumed my hate. I'm not one for reminiscing, but I trade it all for your sweet embrace. 'Cause we lost everything. We had to pay the price. There's a canvas with two faces of fallen angels who loved and lost. It was a passion for the ages, but in the end, guess we paid the cost. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. Said what you had to say, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. Will never fade away. I see your eyes, I know you see me. You're like a ghost, you're everywhere. I'm your demon, never leaving. A metal soul of rage and fear. That one thing that changed it all. That one thing that caused the fall. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. So what you had to say, but a thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, I know. Somehow I'll find a way, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. And I'll do my duty, nice city, a day in the life. I was on my own, catching a ride with the lady. Her hair hangs down past her thighs. Blue and pistol, she satisfies. Leather jacket, zipped up tight. And no, big ones coming, look for lost and found. I have been bright and night city, where your appetite weighs you out to sunrise. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in night city. Here in night city, got me up alright. Here in night city. The way you chase and tease me, get me up so high. We're on the rooftop and you don't compromise. Too many hollow, empty bodies lying around my street don't testify. You got to whisper now on your honest, so we keep on moving. Gotta take it slow, no. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in our city. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in our city. Here in our city, got me up alright. Here in our city. She pulls my trigger, got me up alright. It's a danger pretty here in our city.
All right, here we are. You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Sure am.
Yeah, I am.
It's been a long time in the coming. I remember hearing a lot about this at the last Gen Con 2023, and having an opportunity to talk a little bit with the Artel Saurian folks. They were really tight-lipped on most of it, but
understandably so.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
So FYI for everybody out there, the game releases on the 21st. There is going to be a link in the chat if you want to go pre-order it. That should be coming up here pretty soon. But yeah, with that said, what?
Well, actually, I'm looking at it right now. The pre-order starts the 21st. When does the actual release happen? Oh wait, no. Wait, no, never mind. You're right. Google's telling me things.
Of course, man. Read the cup, okay? Read the cup.
But yes.
It's like,
go ahead, Matt.
It's like when you look at Google, you see the link, and then you see like a passage below it that tells you a little bit of text. Like in that bit, I see pre-orders start the 21st. And then I like open it up, and it's like officially released on the 21st. Like you're telling me two different things here.
Yeah. Well,
you can pre-order now, I believe. You just go to follow the link. Yep.
Okay, so Lord Jesus Christ, digital release 21st, physical release 24th. Okay.
Yeah. So Yeah, the 20 sorry, the Cyberpunk mission kit set in
You
2076,
you
I believe.
you
I think
wanted to say
that's
2077, didn't you?
I did. Look, it's the same decade. I close enough.
Well, it's
But yeah,
really
Lord Jesus, we're super excited for it too.
and it's really exciting to see, because this is like the next generation of or iteration or however you want to look at it
Hmm.
for Cyberpunk. So this takes Cyberpunk Red and moves it into the space of the video game as well as the Edgerunners series. So, that's really exciting stuff. And I don't even, yeah, I think I could like ramble on forever on that, but I'll stop.
Well,
Honestly, there's a lot of cool stuff
yeah.
in
mean,
this.
you
I call it like essentially like an expansion kind of, because you're
yeah,
going like a whole new like part of the timeline. There's tons of like new weapons, cyberware,
the
all this
weapon
stuff because
types.
it's 30. It's like 30 years in the future.
Whoops.
Oh, so you got a timeout. Sorry, Lord Jesus, it's
It's like you
Streamlabs.
try to use a post a link.
Yeah, the link
Yeah.
the link will pop up.
Oh, you typed our towel, and it took that as a link. Okay.
Whoops.
Surprised it.
Yeah, I think there we go.
Okay.
It's
But,
all right,
yeah,
man.
there's
We gotta fix that, but it's okay. But yeah, like I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Greg. This is so Cyberpunk Red came out as we said in November of 2020. So it's been about 4 years. They've come out with tons of stuff since then, DLCs and updated weapons and stuff like that every year. They've come out with the Danger Girl dossier. They've come out with Black Chrome. What am I missing?
bunch
Danger
of
Girl
small
dossier,
things
Black
too.
Chrome. Well, no, I mentioned all the DLC. Like they have tons of
Oh,
DLC that they put out. But I think those two were the big ones, right, Greg?
Yes.
Madness.
Okay.
Our
And now
old
this is that
friend.
third piece, I think. And you said it right. It bridges the gap between Red and the game 2077, which is really good because in a number of interviews that we've watched and that people have put out, um, and even folks at Artel Sorin have said in some of those interviews where very few people, when compared to all the mediums that all the different versions of the IP, very few people have actually played Cyberpunk Red when compared to those who've played the game,
Mm-hmm.
those who've watched the anime. Like I think it was basically said that a lot of people played the game, a lot of people have played the tabletop, but almost everyone, has seen the anime, has seen this Edgerunner series.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Um,
it just goes to because the media piece as far as like television's obviously the on the top.
yeah, that's it's broad spectrum
Right,
audience.
right, and even more so now because you can watch whatever you want wherever you want with your cell
Whenever
phone.
you want.
So right,
Yeah, exactly what your cell phone is.
and then obviously the next largest audience beyond that is video games, which are they keep growing and growing in that space, and then tabletop is last on the list as far as the the size of the audience that's there, and tabletop has a big audience as well, but just not as big as the other two.
No.
So
Yeah. So it's like most people are familiar with like the setting of Night City in 2076 or 77, based off the video game and anime. So it makes sense for them to kind of like bump up the storyline in game to that part of the timeline.
I had a publisher game designer that I won't mention a name, but I had a publisher game designer that I was talking to back in March at GaryCon, who has quite a bit of work under his belt, and he is talking to me really about the financial piece of the gaming industry and all that stuff. And the one comment that he made to me is, if you really want to make money doing this, you've got to get your product into film.
Yes.
So
yeah. Because again, I mean, Lord Jesus Christ, you just hit the nail on the head. Netflix again, most popular streaming service. Everyone pretty much has it, or knows someone who has it, or they're sharing it. And Studio Trigger again is one of the best animation studios out there right now. Um, throw that combination in there, and you know what, Matt? Yeah, I no.
yeah,
That's another thing you say very commonly. Hit the nail on the head.
No.
We're gonna have to make
We're not doing that.
have to make a list of the things that he says, and then he has to take a drink every time he says that. I think that would be very entertaining.
If we're playing a drinking game, Matt, you're part of that game.
I don't drink alcohol. I'll take a drink of like water or something. I'll just pretend I'll just pretend like I'm starting to get tipsy and stuff.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, Netflix Studio Trigger combination, and then the story that they put together was absolutely phenomenal. Really a good story, and I'm glad with the mission kit they continue parts of it. They allude to a couple things, which we're gonna kind of touch on some of that stuff here as we dive into it. But yeah, I'm the quick hacks, man. Just reading through that stuff. Oof.
Yeah,
almost wish I had a Netrunner.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to the quick hacks because I think we were going to talk about the lore before that. But I think quick hacks are probably like one of the biggest like game changers that's introduced here.
All right.
Is it really just revolutionizes what the Netrunner is capable of?
But to answer your comment there, so Lord Jesus Christ said, yeah, it's all about the mind share. Cyberpunk is in the top 10 best-selling TTRPGs right now, and they're still keeping it small and personable. Yes, they're still definitely very much a small kind of mom and pop studio. I mean, I don't know exactly how many people they have working for them, but it's a pretty small and compact team. Yeah, I mean the gap between Paizo and WotC and Artel Saurian, it's immense, and that's not a dig at Artel Saurian or anything like that. It's just Paizo is they took over the Pathfinder IP, and that's been going absolutely phenomenal. And then WotC has Hasbro as their parent company. So the backing unfortunately is very, very different for those two when compared to a lot of other studios. I mean WotC specifically has billions of dollars behind it. So
yeah, Artel Saurian is a smaller studio. They've always been kind of a smaller studio, but in many ways more personable. And just having that opportunity, to sit down and talk with Cody, Mike's son. It's I think the direction, and I'm not trying to speak for him or anything, but it just my impression of things from the conversations that I've had with him. They want to go to more of a community friend. You know what I mean? They want to continue along that path and be community friendly, and really work with the community to continue to expand upon the story, the products.
Oh yeah,
and that's definitely that's something that I personally can relate to. I absolutely love that. Rather than taking the big business route of we make it, you buy it kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's time to show some skin here. So here we go.
Wait, is that the saying that you're using? Time to show some skin?
Time to show some skin. Yeah.
I think that means something very different, Greg.
hey, these are my words, man.
Okay. As long as we acknowledge that they're your words, not ours.
Yep. We gotta
What,
start.
are you feeling bashful or something? What's the deal here? You don't want to show any
skin?
skin?
There might be a few rules in Twitch about doing that kind of thing, Greg.
Oh no,
I don't know.
Yeah, as long as you're you have your maid outfit on, I think you'll be okay.
or a skimpy bikini. I'm sure I've seen plenty of those on Twitch. So you could pull that off, Matt. So that should be our no, never mind. Never mind that.
Nope. Stopping the thought before it even leaves your mouth, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Greg is not letting the intrusive thoughts win. I'm proud of you, Greg. But yeah, there it is. There's the Edgerunners mission kit right there, and our girl Lucy. I'm sorry, I'm a Rebecca stan. Totally Rebecca stan, all the way. All the way. She should have been the one.
She should have been.
It's a common thing. It's a common thing in anime where the real best girl is always like the number 2 that doesn't actually get the guy.
It's so true, and I wish someone needs to break that goddamn trope. Because I'm tired of it, man. Like I'm like, I'll love you. Because they're the most wholesome ass has freaking
All right.
Yeah, no. I mean, the whole cast of the anime was really good. I liked all.
Yeah, they were.
Oops.
Who was your favorite character? Let's see. Who was the favorite character? You seem like a Pilar kind of guy.
Pilar, I did like him, but I mean, I guess spoilers. He doesn't stick around as long as maybe others. So like, there wasn't enough time to really get to know the guy. You know.
Fair. What about you, Greg?
The Cyber Psycho.
Which one? There were a couple of them.
all of, well, not the one in the beginning. The one in like episode 3 or 4. The one that offs the techie. That was my,
okay.
I mean the guy that pisses in public.
That guy. That's the guy.
That's the guy.
He's my hero. Absolutely.
I have to say my favorite character probably had to be his name escapes me. I don't actually think he had a name. The Doctor was an interesting character.
Oh, the Ripper Doc?
The Ripper Doc, yeah.
I don't remember if they gave him a name.
I don't think he had a name, but I always found him kind of interesting.
Just a sketchy Ripper Doc.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. Willing to implant this teenager with this very strange experimental piece of cyberware. And he's like, well, you got the cyberware. I guess I'll do it. This should be funny.
Yeah, he's like, let's see what happens.
Well, there's a motive behind that because his idea is that I'll do this, and then when you die, I'm gonna get that piece of hardware.
Get it back.
Right. And that's so Cyberpunk right there. I mean, sketchy Ripper Doc installing sketchy hardware. Awesome.
Well,
so,
all right, let's jump into it.
Sounds good. So this is the introductory sheet for Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Gives you the basic outline stuff. So it really just kind of talks about the mission kit itself and what the purpose is behind the mission kit, and got a little bit about role playing in case you've never played tabletop games before. Gives you a little idea of what that's all about. And a little bit of the history of the franchise, which began in the 1980s. Created by Mike Pondsmith and Art Talsorian Games crew. And has since spread across multiple forms of media with Cyberpunk 2077 and Cyberpunk Edgerunners, anime from CD Projekt Red and Trigger.
Yeah, and I think this is one thing to kind of note about the mission kit is that like it is like kind of an expansion on Red, but within the mission kit is also enough if you just want to play using this. Like it has like the basic rules, which most of them are the same as Red. There are some there are like a few that are a little different from Red, which I guess at that point it's like, you could use this version of this rule or that one. But for the most part, this contains almost everything you need to be able to play the game, like as with just this version. You don't even need like Red or anything.
Yeah, this is typical as we spoke about in the update log episode 56 this past Wednesday. It's very typical in the TTRPG community and the industry to come up with basically what they call starter boxes or starter kits. D&D did it. Pathfinder, I'm sure, did it. Most of them do it with each of the versions, and it's basically a way to give players. Basically, it's like a demo. You get to showcase new rules, new settings, and get people interested, with a very low barrier to entry. But yeah, you can literally play this by itself. It gives you all the rules and stuff that you need.
Well, let's face it. Since 2077 came out, and then especially with Edgerunners when that came out, I'm gonna say that a large portion of the Cyberpunk community has been adapting their Red games to include things from 2077 and Edgerunners.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, we did right off the jump. We did as soon as we had Red in hand, and as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure we have some folks who are in a private game who know that the mission kit is out, and they're probably going to be poking somebody to play it. But yeah, and here's the thing: I think one of the reasons why folks who are coming in now are adapting to the 27 or making kind of homebrewing into the 2077 era, and especially now with the mission kit, is because that's what they know. That's what it's more familiar. They're more kind of in tune with that setting, whereas folks who've played the older versions, like 2020 and 2013, for those OGs like Greg, who played it way back when. They kind of know where the roots came from. So I mean, one day we should play 2020 and 2013, Greg. Do you still have those?
I am not sure how to answer that question, to be quite honest. Yes, I do, but
look, man, I appreciate your wisdom.
I uploaded the PDF of 2020 on our personal game, so I mean, you guys have had a chance to take a look at that. So,
and I am not gonna lie, I'm glad they streamlined a good bit, because holy shit.
It's a very
punchy. Here's the thing with that though is, and I'm sure that and what I see happening with Red is a lot of the lore pieces, because 2020 is the biggest chunk of this series, and a lot of the lore pieces are coming out of that. And what I see Artel Sorian doing is bringing a lot of that lore as they go. They're bringing a lot of that lore forward and adapting it to the new setting, the Cyberpunk Red piece. But I mean, 2020 has just a huge wealth of lore, and it literally, that game system is designed to take you all the way from just the straight tabletop piece to it, with Friday Night Firefight, where you can do that. You can do one shots and just go in and happily destroy things and be murder hobos if you want to be. And you can, I mean, it has the politics in it, it has the intrigue in it, tactical pieces, and I mean, the whole net running piece to it, and it even takes you into space. So I mean, come on, what more could you ask for?
Speaking of, we gotta finish that.
So, with that, do you want to? Well, we were going to go on to the handbook. Are you ready to move on to the handbook? Okay, because this has a lot of meat to it. So here we go.
So before we go in, though, we gotta go over the rules. There's only 3 rules every Edgerunner lives by. You guys know what those are, right?
Share
I
the
mean,
rules.
I'm looking at them right here. Yeah.
Style over substance, attitude is everything, and live on the edge. That's right.
Indeed.
So for all of you haters or, talking about Roland always blowing shit up, well, guess what? Style over substance.
The beauty of Cyberpunk is that you can play this system and it fits very well however you want to do it. I mean, a lot of the games that are out there, like the private games that are out there, are truly designed as one-shot games, and even a lot of the feed games, like if you've ever watched, some of the games that Mike has ran, they're designed as one-shot games. But the system itself lends itself very freely to more of a campaign style play if you're creative enough. That's the thing. So
yeah, definitely.
Let's.
There's like plenty of progression to do, like for your character, like things. Like you could spend years playing the games, upgrading your character. God knows how long it would take to upgrade your character set. They've gotten like a 10 in every skill. Some psycho out there has done it.
Long time.
Very long time.
The part
and my character has never lost a single eyebrow. Thank you very much.
Never.
I'm gonna doubt that one. I'm gonna press X to doubt.
Legs, hands, and arms. I mean, but no eyebrows.
He's only lost a hand and he had a broken leg. That's about it.
Must have.
We can fix that.
There must be some fake ass eyebrows if they're withstanding explosions, man.
They're tech eyebrows. What you talking about?
You got tech hair.
That is
eyebrows.
True vanity right there, where you have to change the color of your eyebrows. I mean,
he's a rocker bear. What do you expect?
Need tech hair for like
I
every
agree.
place. You got tech hair for your chest hair.
I mean, that would be interesting. Actually,
I agree. Jesus Christ! I thank you for the idea. Flamethrowers. I like it. I like it.
He doesn't need ideas.
We can put Roland's style to the test with this.
All right, let's jump into
Gillian threw a car at him. So I mean,
threw a car at
well,
him.
didn't actually throw a car at him, but
when did he throw a car at him?
The mission with the down shuttle that we did. Well, it wasn't actually Gillian that threw the car at him. Gillian launched the grenade that launched the car that Powder was driving into the air. I think that was the way it went.
No. What happened is that it was a stopped car belonging to like some nomads or something, and our techie is the one who jump-started it, and it started going on its own, and Gillian was the one who almost got hit by the thing. I think Roland was safely away from all of that.
Probably because he's smart.
What happened to Powder? Powder's still out there somewhere.
Alive?
Yeah. She's obviously, she's a tech character, and not drawn out of Arcane. Sort of.
Not the legally distinct Powder over here.
Right. We do.
Just full disclosure. She does not, in any way, shape, or form, resemble the character from Arcane.
Right.
Look, it's a private game, all right. People can do what they want. She hasn't had her Joker moment yet, though. Thought she did, but nah, she hasn't gone Joker.
So back on task, we covered the first three things: style over substance, attitude is everything, and live on the edge.
On the edge, that's right.
So
on the edge, baby.
Well, you absolutely you have to live on the edge. That's one of the beauties to the cyberpunk world is that the simplicity of it, because it's a little bit of a shift for some players because it's very different from like Dungeons and Dragons in that sense. I like both systems, but I mean, the Cyberpunk just resonates with me. So, and you know, but
they have different methods of making the character feel like a badass, or rather, the player feel like a badass.
They do.
Because in D&D, there's a lot more power pacing. Your characters are become very strong. So like in world, you're very much badass. In Cyberpunk, your characters are badasses, but you're not going to be doing anything absolutely insane like you could do in D&D. But instead, it's all about like kind of what those three roles are all about. It's all about the way you role play, and it's like because you aren't a badass in the eyes of the world, you gotta play the part, kind of.
well,
You gotta fake it till you make it.
Your job as an edge runner is to act like as big of a badass as you can possibly be.
Right, and then hope you roll well.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. as much of a badass as your character may think they are, even in D&D, if robot says no, robot says no.
Pretty much.
Yeah, robot.
All right, so we're gonna actually go into some of the lore here. For those of you guys who don't know, so basically, give you a brief synopsis of kind of like how things started, how 2013 and 2020 and all that stuff came out. All of the history of Cyberpunk is the same as our world history up until like the early to mid 90s. It's kind of where the Cyberpunk kind of takes off, and what happens there primarily is the introduction of legitimate cyberware. It's like cyber limbs and stuff like that, like that are basically stuff that you see in like the Terminator.
So what you're saying is that we were on the wrong branch of that split.
Yeah, pretty much. We somewhere in the 90s, someone fucked up and we didn't get our cyberware.
Look, actually, considering the state of things in Cyberpunk, I don't want to say yet that we're on the wrong side, like we're in the wrong time. Granted, we haven't gotten to like as far as 77 yet. Who knows what the world's gonna look like? But right now, I'd say things are a little better.
Is it a little bit okay? There's there's no nukes going off in any cities or nothing like that. So that's
Not yet.
that's a plus. That's right. That's a plus.
The only corporation with its own military is Disney, and that's only one.
You're not. Oh, yeah. That's really
Disney's
bad.
scary, honestly.
Disney. Disney, and you're forgetting WotC, Pinkertons.
Well, that's not their.
I mean,
that's not their own.
True,
military.
but they use them.
Well, actually, Coca-Cola, actually, now you mention that, Coca-Cola, like for the vault at corporate headquarters, that's considered a maximum security vault. So it's
really?
Oh yeah, they have armed guards on that 24 hours a day.
God damn.
What the fuck are they guarding?
The formula.
The secret formula, man.
Yes, because the secret is so secret you can't, take a basic college chemistry student or even a fucking college chemistry teacher to break down that formula. It would be impossible for them. /sarcasm.
Look, in SpongeBob, Mr. Krabs has to protect the secret formula for the Krabby Patty from plankton all the time.
Right.
I'm sure he has a very similar thing going on.
Probably. But anyway, we keep getting sidetracked. But so basically the early 90s was the onset of cyberware and cybernetics, and then you had basically the collapse of the Western hemisphere, essentially, most specifically the United States. New York, the United States in like the kind of basically throughout the decade of the 90s, through various things like the Gang of Four, which are basically the CIA, the FBI, NSA, and some other three-letter agency that I can't remember off the top of my head. Basically, the collapse of the U.S., introduction of things like Chew 2. And then you go into like the 2000s, and then you start to see like the beginnings of like the corporate wars as corporations like Arasaka, Militech, Biotechnica, Mikoshi Optics, stuff like that, start sprouting up, and kind of taking control. And this not only happens in like the Western Hemisphere, this happens globally. Like Arasaka actually started back during World War II, if memory serves, in the lore of Cyberpunk, and then continued on. His son took over for Saburo. That's where Saburo Arasaka takes over shortly after his father passes him the reins around World War II and shortly thereafter, and then he brings it into obviously the future. And then things progress. You have progressions in like cyberware and computers. Hence, you get like Netrunners, Cyberdex, and like the Matrix and the Net pop up in like the early 2000s. And you got individuals like Raish Bartmoss, who that guy was a problem. He's actually my favorite character. Raish Bartmoss, of all the characters in all the Cyberpunk lore, he's my favorite character. The man was an absolute menace. He gave no fucks at whatever he wanted.
He ruined the internet.
Well,
that's pretty much what he did. He destroyed the internet.
All right. So Rob's an anarchist. There we go. We've now established this.
I just like the fact that he gave no fucks and did what he wanted. He was kind of an asshole.
Anarchist.
So then, you have the corporate wars. There were 3 of them. You had the South Am Wars or the South American Wars, and there you get characters like Morgan Blackhand, Johnny Silverhand, and even I want to say Smasher was part of that timeline, or he might have gotten kicked out of the military at that point and ended up back in New York. I can't remember, but then you move into the fourth. I've no more fucks, and that's kind of where everything kind of kicks off, and where the 2020s happen. Basically, the crew that goes into Arasaka Tower to blow up the freaking the HQ in Night City. And then you get the Time of the Red. The Time of the Red was basically the fallout of 2023 and all of what happened there. And I'm going to shut up and pass the reins off to somebody else because I hate hearing myself talk.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much what starts. Like, the Time of Red goes on for, I think, about 2 decades.
Yeah, from
all right. So what started the Time of the Red?
It was basically the nuclear attack on Arasaka Tower in 2023. It was basically the beginning of the Time of the Red. And the reason why is because basically because of the radiation and chemicals that were released in the atmosphere. Every time it rained, it would rain red.
Blood red. Well, not every time, but yeah.
Well, not every time, but
the skies were also had a red tinge for several years.
For a while, and basically, after the incident at Arasaka Tower and forward, Night City itself really kind of devolved into almost like a Mad Max scenario. Not nearly as bad, but like it was pretty bad because you had individuals from the Fourth Corporate War, still fighting in the streets. Gangs started popping up like Sixth Street Gang. Then you have stuff like the Forlorn Hope, I believe, came up around that time as well, which was basically a bar almost similar to like the Afterlife that was specifically, not exclusively, but more particularly for solos. But you had like a lot of the early gangs like pop up, like Sixth Street and the Bozos, Voodoo Gangs, the Voodoo Boys.
There's a little bit of a there was a little bit of a consolidation of power during that time, because before the Time of the Red, it was basically poser gangs is what they're called.
Yes. And
you had many. I mean, it was think of the late 70s movie The Warriors.
I love that.
And you kind of had that situation going on inside Night City. But yeah. In the time of the red,
Yeah, I mean,
condensed it down.
pretty much. Like the Tower Red was honestly, it's like according there's a lot of reconstruction just going on during that time because you have the bombing of the Arasaka Tower, then shortly after is when the it's I think like shortly after that is when the net was officially down due to Bart Moss's data crash. So like
Yep. So
like 2025, it may be the end of the fourth corporate war, but it's a bad time.
Yeah,
Just a lot of reconstruction and a lot of like just trying to get society like Night City back on its tracks.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That Jesus Crust is talking about the Forlorn Hope piece of that, which actually is a mod that was developed for 2020. And coming out of the South Am Wars, which during the time of the South Am Wars, Johnny Silverhand was actually in the military. And just to add to that, you're absolutely right, Jesus. And the other piece to it is they also realized that they were being used as guinea pigs. They were being used to test out the cyberware,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So basically the first and as Greg said, the guinea pigs of the like cyberware revolution and like cyber limbs, especially because I believe that was kind of the beginning of what we would see now as modern day cyberware was limbs like for amputees were soldiers and other vets coming back from various conflicts and stuff like that, especially South American wars, because I think there were 2 South Am wars, were there? Or am I thinking of something else?
Sort of. The South Am War was more of what you would look at as a conventional war.
Yeah.
And then after that came the corporate wars, starting in 2004,
Okay.
which yeah.
So South Am wars, and then led into the initial corporate wars, which some of them were in South America. I think the first and second, either the first and second or the first or second corporate wars happened due to some situations I believe in Brazil. But yeah, there was a lot of guys coming out of those situations realizing that they were, being taken advantage of and being used as fodder, which is what happens. And they had enough. But after the time of the Red in 2045, things kind of started to change. Let's see the timeline here, and I'm glad they put this in here, because this covers pretty much all the like really big deal events.
Such as the bird flu.
The bird flu, yep. Yeah, in 2040 at the first mega buildings in Night City. And you get the birth of Netwatch in 2044 with the Black Wall. So Matt, why don't you go into what happens with the old net and why we need Netwatch in the Black Wall? Because we actually came out with a module called Beyond the Wall.
Yeah, so essentially the old net, the one that Bart Moss screwed over, has it's pretty much just this. Imagine hell, but digital. And viruses and AI are the fucking demons. They're trying to break into the world of living to screw everything up. That's kind of what the old net is. It's got viruses, deranged AI, all sorts of things that want to try to infiltrate the new net and just kind of mess things up. So the Black Wall is essentially just like a firewall, but black, to keep all that shit out. Kind of keep the Night City's net like it's kind of contained net.
Right. Yeah, basically that's what the Black Wall is. It's a firewall. It's a firewall that separates out pockets of the network which we would call the intranet versus the internet. And that's kind of what the division is. I mean, the internet being everything, the wide open space,
the World Wide Web.
Right. In which they lose access to that after Bart Moss unleashes all of his fun toys into the world, and they replicate and create rogue AIs that essentially are very, very, uncontrollable, really. So to protect, and the big piece to it was to bring the crash. So that was Bart Moss's thing, was to basically to crash the world's systems, economic systems, everything. He wanted to bring everything down. Just sit on his front porch and watch it all burn. Fantastic stuff. And so when they created the black wall, they created the black wall so that they could have a security zone for, essentially, it's mainly around the big cities like Night City and like New York and those type of places. The challenge that it presents is that it's not as easy to communicate between these bubbles because you don't have that capability like we would have had to be able to do that. Like now,
No wide web.
Right.
It's
Pretty much.
Pocket. It's just contained networks. Like
It's basically
networks.
it's basically intranets, which ironically enough was the first iteration of the internet. Was intranets, not internet.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit of a difference. But yeah, so that basically society starts to begin to rebuild itself. Around the around the time of the Red 2040s, 2045s, kind of after that, and then you kind of move into 2050s and 60s where Militech rises to power, becomes the kind of second, the second place, private military corporation behind Arasaka. They kind of vie for first place. They're kind of neck and neck, but I'll give Arasaka the edge in most cases, for a couple of reasons. One of them being Atom Smasher. Although Militech did have Morgan Blackhand, so you can't count him out. And then we get into like the 77. 2069 was the Unification Wars, and then you have the 2070s. You get in kind of the into now where the mission kit kind of takes up, because I believe the mission kit is around it's 2076, so a year before the game.
Yeah, it's essentially between the anime and the video.
Yeah, the end of the
because
anime.
Like the last event on this timeline given is 2076, which talks about David Martinez's last stand. So like the timeline mission kit is essentially soon after the anime.
Yeah.
But Atom Smasher is still like alive and around, so this is definitely before the video game.
Good old Boogeyman in Night City.
We'll get into Atom Smasher later because included in this mission kit is a little essentially a campaign you can play through, a mission you might say, that has Atom Smasher, and the man has a character sheet, and
it's busted.
He is just a little nutty. We'll get into that later, but yeah,
he's Atom Smasher. I mean,
he sure is.
What do you expect? He is like the boss at the end of the game boss.
Well, you wouldn't think so the way V treated him at the end of that game.
Well,
the game and video game Atom Smasher was a little easy, but this version of Atom Smasher, I'm just saying, like, if you're a DM, you want to throw something just a little goofy at your players, have fun.
Yep. Yeah, 90s. Yep, 96 rockets and fight. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah,
funny.
he's just a bit of a silly guy, I'll say.
He's a problem.
It is definitely here's the thing that I was, people are probably, trying to throw Atom Smasher into their games just to, for shits and giggles. I would
Because
not.
it's Atom Smasher.
Right. He's one of those characters that I would not. I wouldn't recommend doing that. You know what I mean? It's always good to have. Here's the thing: if you play your game in such a way that the whole world becomes revolving around your team of netrunners, you kind of kill the fun in the game when you do that. It's hard to continue to create new content for it when you're at the top already.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you can really do is defend your position at that point, I guess. But so it's always good to have those, those godlike characters that are out there. In which, honestly, if you take a look at Atom Smasher, he's tough. He is definitely tough.
Yeah, Greg, I think you sell him short. That's definitely more than just tough.
Yeah, I think for the most part, if you throw
I
him
could take
in
him.
as a DM, like you have either two intentions with this. Either you're testing to see if your players know that, like, sometimes they should probably just back off and retreat, or this is just a fun test for everyone, lighthearted, just to see how far they can get.
This is a DM wanting to murder his people.
Pretty much.
I'd say, I'd be fine for like a non-canon bit in our private game. Death won't even be a thing.
Okay,
Let's
all
just
right.
see how far.
Let's
just see how far we can make it against.
You would like me to throw? I think if I heard that correctly, you would like me to throw Atom Smasher at you.
In a non-canon bit, so whoever dies doesn't stay dead. It's just like this is.
It could be a BD. It could be a training BD.
It was all a dream.
Training BD. Yep.
You've done to us before.
Here's how you get your ass kicked.
That's why I put a fucking ass whooping. Jesus. Let Gilliam fight him by himself.
I think that's kind of what he's saying is he'd like to try.
Yeah, he wants
see what happens.
Go toe to toe with Atom Smasher.
I didn't say it by myself. I mean, if it's a single character, they're not lasting long. It's gonna be a pretty short fight there.
Yeah, I'd give you 2 turns at best. Maybe not even.
I'd say more than 2, at least for a solo.
Maybe. If he decides to open up with the rockets, though, I don't know. Because remember, his Sandy is pretty unique.
True, that is true. But anyway, we'll get more into him later.
Yep.
But
what if I didn't? What if I'm not a coward?
That's kind of like.
What if I want them
gives
to
a full.
What if I want them to try?
A simplified version of one, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the current year for this would be 2076 after the anime's events.
Yep, 2076 shortly thereafter the anime. And the big thing about the mission kit and again, where it bridges the gap between Red and the game is the Gen 3 cyberware with the introduction of neuroports. So for those who've played, Red in 2020 and 2013, you do have, interface, like you have interface plugs, you have cerebrodermal grips that allow you to use things like smart weapons and kind of interface with stuff. But if you notice in the anime and the game, everybody has what amounts to an internal agent and what looks like cyber eyes, when in fact that's only half right. So with Gen 3 cyberware, they get what's called a neuroport, which basically it's a piece of hardware that's basically installed in your brain that connects your agent to your optic nerve, so you can that's why in the game and in the anime you see everybody when they make the phone call, they get the little visual as well. Some people did have cyber eyes as well, but even if you had meat eyes, you would still see that kind of visual pop up. And that's because of the Gen 3 cyberware and neuroports that have become essentially commonplace. Almost everybody has
Yeah.
one now.
So a neuroport is essentially it's a whole ass like package in all in one, because it comes with your Neuralink, has a holophone, which is essentially just the it's essentially an internal agent. I guess this is just the now modern term for it. You have a monitor, like virtuality. You got your Chiron display in your eyes, 2 chipware sockets, and and like an interface plug. All of that is in this package, and none of those even count as like slots in your Neuralware.
Mm.
So, and that's like, and the even crazier thing is that this is if I recall, that didn't even cost like any. If you're getting that at creation, that costs just like no humanity to even get.
No,
Because like
the
the way they're treating it in the story is that these things are what cell phones are to us now. Like everyone has one. There's several like even ways that they force the institutionalization of them, where they encourage people to get them in their kids like as soon as possible, so that they kind of grow up learning things. Saying that they perform so much better in life if they have them. Financially, just happiness and all this stuff. People who don't have them, the loans that they can take have much higher interest rates, and even like modern cyberware is all meant to interface with the neuroport.
So it's like a social credit score meets a social security card kind of thing.
pretty much.
Pretty much. Like if you don't have one, you
ain't nobody. You're actually, I think there's a term for it. It's called.
pretty much.
I think it's called sinless. Isn't it, Greg? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know on that one.
Because I'm pretty sure I might be thinking of something else. But basically, if you don't have one of these, you almost don't exist.
I mean, here's the thing, and it's like, as far as like what your character has, if you don't have this, you pretty much can't use any cyberware besides like medical grade stuff.
No.
It's like pretty much like a temporary replacement lens. Like that's pretty much all you can do with cyberware, because all like actual cyberware is designed to work with the neuroport.
Yeah.
So pretty much, if you're making your character and you like, the only way to really not do a neuroport is if you're just going clean, no chrome at all. Like that's pretty much how it is now.
The Neuralink in your neuroport definitely explains how cyberware works too, and that's an important piece to it. Is it's not like you just chop off your arm and then stick a mechanical arm on there, and how does it actually work? And that's part of that whole infrastructure piece for the body to connect to the mind and be able to use that arm as if it were really your arm.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what Neuralware is, like the whole Neuralink, where it's pretty much it creates that passage for like to be able to actually kind of connect your nervous system to your cyberware. So it definitely makes sense why that like it's necessary now, and also why it's pushed so hard by the corporations.
So we ended up in the timeline where we're creating robots instead of cyborgs.
Yep, man, we should. Shit, I could have
So
been the
be
Adam
careful
Smasher.
about wishing for the world of Cyberpunk to become true. That's not a world we want in real life.
Look, all I'm saying is I could have been Adam Smasher.
Look, you know what? If you're a person that's a pacemaker, you're a cyborg. All right. So for people with pacemakers or other types of medical equipment like that,
Well,
you're a cyborg.
how about a hearing
Be
aid?
proud. Be strong.
About a hearing aid? Yep.
I mean, is that cheap cyberware? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I don't think pacemakers are cheap. I mean,
No, they're not. Well, pacemakers different. I'm talking about like a pacemakers. Yeah, that's not cheap. I'm talking about like a hearing aid.
a hearing aid.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know enough about those to know how expensive they are. But yeah, I guess technically with that, yeah, that's also.
It's not actually something that's it's something
Well,
it's a machine that you can put in and take out. But I mean,
oh yeah, so that wouldn't be like an implant. So that wouldn't technically that wouldn't make you a cyborg like a pacemaker would.
right. So I wanted to jump down here and take a look at the Borgware and the full body conversion stuff because
God. Yeah, they go into that. And they actually have a kit for that as well. They just released a full body conversion kit.
exactly cyberware, not cyberware. You got it.
I think so. I think there's three. There's Black Chrome, the full body conversion kit, and the Danger Girl dossier are the big pieces. Or was the full body conversion kit a DLC? I'm gonna have to go check. Because
full body conversions came in 2020, but
okay,
yeah,
I think they did an upgrade for Red then. Because
Yeah,
I remember them putting out an announcement for that.
I believe they came in Chromebook 4 or 3, one of those.
Yes, Interface Red Volume 3. There we go. Yep. So yeah, and we can all turn into the Atom Smashers. Get the Dragoon, customize that bad boy. Get some shoulder mounted rocket launchers. A railgun. Get a
And then
nuke
go Cyber
implanted.
Psycho.
Well,
Get a nuke implanted in your chest just in case someone downs
this
you.
is
with you.
actually really
Hand sheets directly to DM.
it's really
Yep.
it's really fortuitous if you think about it, because for Beyond the Wall, we actually have some characters that kind of fit into this category.
That's true.
And the fortuitous part to it is we created this scenario and these particular characters, and now the rules are here. Which actually, if you take a look at it, everything we created, not everything. There's some stuff in there that is still going to be original content. Well, it's all original content, but there's some that's going to still be different. But they make sense with this. So
with the Michigan, yeah, and the new rules. Let's see what else. So
I kind of liked that, but didn't like that, but I like it.
We got the Borgware and an updated kind of more in-depth look at cyberpsychosis. So for those of you who don't know, when Mike Pondsmith actually created Cyberpunk, I think it was at the very beginning, is either 2013 or 2020. I can't remember which edition. I think it was at the beginning. But he actually sat down with and spoke with like roboticists and psychologists and psychoanalysts and stuff like that. He sat down and spoke with the people that actually do robotics and science and psychology and stuff, and spoke to them about what he was working on. And so that's why a lot of the things that we're seeing, it's not far-fetched. It's not like some off-the-wall wild shit, and that includes cyberpsychosis. And basically, basic for those who don't know, the basic premise of cyberpsychosis is the more human you are, the more organic you are, the closer, the more you can associate with those around, with the world around you, people, the places, stuff like that. The more technology you stuff into your body, or in this case, like Atom Smasher, go full Borg, and you're just like a brain, heart, a spleen, and like maybe one other organ, you start to lose touch with reality. Hence, you drop into what's called cyberpsychosis. And I mean, that's basically a dissociative disorder, and you lose touch with reality, and in most cases become violent. Although Atom Smasher, David Martinez, and a number of other individuals, in lore, are actually what's called high-functioning cyberpsychos. Like Atom Smasher is a full-on cyberpsycho, but I'd like to think, and this is my own headcanon, he was always a cyberpsycho, Like he was always a fucking psycho.
He's just plain psycho.
Yeah, he's just playing psycho now. Because of the Borg, we have to call him a cyber psycho. But he
he has good taste though. I mean,
I honestly, I need to know. I need to know how do you date him?
that's an odd question.
I mean,
But-
I mean, given the body he had, does he even have?
Does he have?
Come on, he's got
right?
a custom Mr. Stud in there somewhere. I mean,
You know what? You know what?
They call him Adam Smasher, but not for the reason you think.
wow.
Considering his ego, I would not be fucking surprised if he had like a custom Mr. Stud in there. I would not be surprised at all. But I still want to know, how the hell did he pull Adam Smasher? Oh, he's got a rocket, all right. Yeah, how the hell did he pull? So for those of you who don't know, Adam Smasher actually did date, I think it was the granddaughter of Subaru Arasaka?
Well, you know who the granddaughter of Subaru Arasaka is.
Yes, yeah, she runs the Danger Girl.
Yes, she is Danger Girl.
Yep, she's Danger Girl head. Her and her, I think her new boyfriend or husband or something like that. Yeah, there we go. I can remember her name. Michiko Arasaka. Yeah, so she is what? Is his oldest son's whatever the fuck his name was. Can't remember his name either.
Daughter.
Yeah, that was his daughter. I don't know how Adam Smasher sweet talked her. My man's got a empathy level of like -5. He couldn't talk his way into a paper bag. What the fuck are you talking about?
Look, maybe she's just got a thing for for tall, dark, and questionably handsome.
Ah, that's why. That's what it was. The Elvis Gemini vibe.
I mean, yeah, he could. I mean, surely a man like him has like different bodies. He can switch to. So maybe one of those bodies is a little easy on the eyes.
It doesn't matter.
Give him like a little cyber wig. Put some hair on that head. After you get
past the sculpted body, you still gotta talk to the motherfucker. You hear with this kind of shit that came out of his mouth in the game.
Look, maybe she's like, I can fix it.
Maybe that's what it was. Absolutely.
She's like, I can fix this brain spleen person.
Yeah. In your opinion, it was a point of rebellion more than genuine interest. I mean, that's very possible.
Well, just remember one thing: you absolutely cannot fix another person. So.
Especially
not a guy like that. Especially not a guy like that. No, sir. I mean, let's put it into context. He prioritizes jobs that allow him the maximum amount of collateral damage. He won't take a job unless he can kill civilians.
Where do you get that from?
He said it.
Oh, when did he say that?
Well, not him, but his jacket, basically. Not in the Cyberpunk, but if you look through his stuff, like it actually says that he will only take jobs that allow him the opportunity for the maximum of.
So yes, there is a dossier for Adam Smasher in the mission kit. Is what you're saying?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I would be surprised if the Danger Girl dossier did not have a piece on Smash. I mean, considering she slept with him. At least I'm assuming she slept with him.
Well, she must have done something with the guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say she must have done something with him.
They just went out for coffee. I mean, come on.
They just held hands.
Right.
They just held hands. Okay.
Right. He was actually her kind of got hold hands. He was actually just her bodyguard, and people just assumed that they were dating. See.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This dude is looked down upon the family because he's just our walking murder implement. Dad'll get pissed when he finds out. That's probably what she was thinking. She's like, this is gonna piss off everybody, and I'm gonna do it. Oh my god. All right, so moving on a little bit past that one. Let's see where. So that's Cyber Psycho. They actually go way in depth into that. Which I mean, for those of you who haven't, I highly suggest reading it.
Next up is the net and net running.
Yeah, net running. So we're gonna have to couple that with the quick hacks.
Yeah,
Greg,
absolutely.
how about you talk about that, man? Because I know you love net running.
No, you go right ahead. You go right. You guys are you're doing good so far. So I don't want to.
Matt, I'll let you take that one.
Interrupt your mojo here.
Yeah. So the quick hacks, they kind of go with they're first made possible because everyone now has neuroports.
Mm-hmm.
Because a neuroport is pretty much something that allows you to like connect to like the net and all these other things, and obviously if it can connect to other things, it can be connected to. So the net runner is pretty much for the quick hacks connecting to people's neuroports. That's what allows them to do quick hacks. And I like quick hacks because it's a way for the net runner to be like kind of still in the same world as everyone else.
Yeah.
Because, Cyberpunk Red and before net running, the net runner is often La La Land in virtual space.
Very much so.
Completely different thing, playing his own game. The quick hacks is a way, like they can still do that stuff, but the quick hacks lets them take like a bit more of an active role in, say, like the combat that's going on, or they can still do their netrunner stuff. They still use their net actions, but in the more of the context of like what's actually going on with everyone else in the same kind of sphere.
Right.
Yeah. So Greg, why don't you kind of give us after Madison, give us a breakdown on like how net running used to be back before the mission kit, because even in Red it was still not as seamless.
Well, it honestly hasn't. Okay, so it hasn't actually changed a lot, even with the mission kit. As far as the infrastructure goes to it, because you still have to have a net infrastructure. Now, if you're going to do, you still get the meat action versus the net actions, and you can still, you can function normally to an extent in the real world. So you can be talking to your teammates and doing movement, take your movement in the real world while you're doing net actions. Now, the quick hacks piece, the thing that changed is that it allows you to connect to a person, where before you were just finding a connection point to connect to the internet and then the infrastructure of whatever you were trying to hack into. And it really wasn't designed for people, so you couldn't hack into people. But now you can. And it works virtually the same way. If the person has no security, then you could hack their cyberware. You could, use your quick hacks on their cyberware. You could cause their very, very similar to what you could do in the game, 2077. But
you can make a person burst into flames. You can actually take like control of them for like one action. Be like, hey, your next turn, shoot your buddy. That's one of the things you could do.
Mm-hmm.
You can even do like if you watch the anime, you see like Lucy like pop people's like cred chips out. You can do that if they have like something in the chipware socket. You can just pop that sucker out, which is situational, but could be very useful. Because I know there's some situations, like in our personal game, where like one of my characters was relying on a piece of chipware pretty heavily. Like I remember once we were dealing with some like invisible enemies, had like some of the optical camo stuff going on. And he was using his tactile boost to try to like keep track of them by their like movement, since he couldn't use his eyes. If there's a net runner that could just pop that shit out and be like, oh. that can change things. In the right situation, that ability can really come in clutch.
No, it definitely is it's a much needed adaptation. when it comes to Netrunners. And we gotta. I agree with what you were saying. I think it definitely will. It kind of folds the Netrunner into the team more.
Mhm.
I think with some, we just got to play it. We gotta play it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's gonna necessarily your Netrunner, because they have such a unique thing that they're doing, is still going to be a little separate from the rest of the team.
Oh yeah, definitely. But this is like, it's a bit more involved with what everyone else is doing, because like before that, the old type of net running, which again you can still do, it's a very much kind of like this supportive role to kind of help kind of control the environment and information, that kind of thing. Like, like, hey, close the shutters, or hey, make this elevator work, or get us eyes on the cameras, the floor above, that type of thing, which is really useful. But again, they're doing their own thing while the rest of everyone else is kind of fighting. This kind of lets the net runner not just be that support role, but also take a more active role in the actual fight that's going on, by helping, by just hacking into enemies. And there are some ways you can deal direct damage, or there's a whole bunch of things you can do to kind of disrupt them. Mm-hmm. Another thing I like about the quick hacks is that it also gives a bit more weight to the will stat.
Yes,
because the will stat is pretty
didn't get really a lot of love. Yeah, it was
there
only
are a
used
whole concentration, resist torture drugs. I feel like one more thing other than that. I think
there is an actual mechanic around the will stat, that take it or leave it kind of mechanic, and that's almost works with your it works with your cool score, when you like suffer injuries or things like that. So yeah, but you're right. There's really not a lot that's tied to that. So it's like it's like a stat that is kind of been left out on its own. I don't.
It's just like your other health stat, but it really doesn't do much else. But now with the quick hacks, essentially the Netrunner is going to be hacking against the target's will, because when you first connect to someone, you're going to do an interface check right there against the target's will. Your jack-in is always going to be successful, but their will is to see if they notice that they've been hacked at that moment, like before the Netrunner even does anything. So it's a chance that they might notice, depending on their will. And if they do know, which they likely will after you've done an actual quick hack on them, they can use their action to try to boot them out using the will plus concentration. So also concentration, another skill that's pretty underutilized, now has a pretty good use. So will and concentration, having those kind of be your main defense against being quick hacked, not counting a piece of cyberware, which we'll get into in a bit. But those are pretty underutilized stat and skill, so it's really nice to see it used. Because now it's now having a high will and actually investing into the concentration stat beyond just the two that you kind of have to put in there as part of your general skills, it's actually kind of worth it now. And I like that, because one of the things that's always got me about Cyberpunk is it's very exhaustive skill list, and some of them are so situational, and it's I'm not going to invest any points into this. I don't know when I'm ever going to use this. So to do something to kind of make one of these skills, especially one of the ones that every character has to put 2 points into, useful, I like that. I think that's a good move.
Mm. Well, I will say this, and I think we've talked about this before, but unlike a lot of different systems, Cyberpunk gives you the freedom to really fine-tune your character the way you want to. And that comes with some pros and cons. One of the major pros is that, again, exactly that. You can create the character that you want to create. But then one of the cons is you have so many options. Either you can get overwhelmed, or you can be one of those individuals who wants to do everything and then quickly realize, like, I can't because I just don't have enough IP. But for me, that's one of the reasons why I like Cyberpunk, because it forces you really to really dive into your character and really kind of focus. It forces you to specialize to get the most out of your character. So like what you were kind of saying, Matt, how you're glad that those things are seeing some love. And again, I hope people show some love to and start looking at those stats a little differently. But I've known some folks in some of my other games who specialize in like different stats that aren't quote unquote optimal. That's another thing. The whole optimization, as many people have said in the past, fellow developers, the players will optimize the fun out of the game if they could.
Yeah. Now we just need something to make the bureaucracy skill useful.
It's useful. It's totally useful. You just have we just don't have like.
Whenever you ever rolled it? Tell me whenever you rolled it.
My character's a fucking drummer. he wheels and deals. He bullshits. We need a fixer. It's a different type of face. He's the guy that does the wheeling and dealing behind the doors. We need a fixer. I mean, we have a fixer, but if we wanted to use the bureaucracy stat, we would need an actual player, playing the fixer. And it ain't rolling. He ain't fixing shit.
Well, the bureaucracy stat could work with police officers.
That too, yeah.
It could
Probably
work with corpos for sure.
Yeah, the media maybe.
I mean, it just depends on how you bring it into the game, and if that's the kind of game that you're playing, that's kind of where that falls into.
It's a niche skill. It's a very niche skill.
Yeah.
I'd say in the average edge running gig, you're probably not going to be using that skill.
Here's the thing to bear in mind with this. Unlike some systems, just because you don't have points in a skill doesn't mean that you cannot use that skill. That's and that's a misconception it's been created. I think it may be just a misconception of players over time is that, well, if I don't have skills, if I don't have any skill in it, then I can't do it. That's not true. You can do any of those things. You can, even though you don't have points in that skill, you can still use that skill. You just don't get you don't get any bonuses for it because you're not skilled in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You'll just be rolling your stat plus the D10.
Right.
But maybe not the best chance unless you just have really high in that stat. But nothing's stopping anyone from being at least trying to be a bureaucrat.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like me speaking Japanese.
Yeah, you can attempt.
I know a few words, but I can't really.
Languages. I think languages are an exception to that. So I don't think just anyone could roll to speak a language that their character hasn't invested points in.
I think that's the only one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think special things like that are a bit of a exception, but like as far as like actual like skills that are kind of preset on your sheet and all that.
You hit it. Jesus hit this on the head, and that's an important piece right there because you get that a lot with the players.
Yes.
Where they don't want to do things unless they feel like they don't want their character to do things unless they feel like they have a pretty good chance of success. Which I get it. I wouldn't. I'm not knocking anybody for playing that way. You can play that way if you want to. It is kind of God moding things in a way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not trying to be nice here. I mean, it's a dick move. How about that? But
I mean, in real life, how often are you going to try something that you know that you're like really good at, or do you want to that you know you're really bad at?
All right, Matt. Have you ever played basketball?
Stick to what you're good at. Like when I was like, I don't know, 5.
Okay, so if there was a basketball hoop outside your house, and someone said, "Hey, you want to, let's play a game of horse," you'd just say, no, because I'm no good at that.
Well, that's a low stakes situation. In a role play session, usually like when you're on a gig or something, stakes are a little higher. You're probably gonna play things a little safer.
Well, think about some of our characters that are not good with firearms, because we do have some that are not good with firearms, but they can't get close to do what they're good with. So do they just sit there behind the wall and wait for somebody to get up close to them, or do you just take a shot? Just maybe I'll roll an at 10. Just take a shot.
So by that logic, you're fine with throwing Am Smasher at us. Because we may not have a good chance of succeeding, but we might as well try. We might as well try to.
Hey, if you roll like 20 nat 10s, you might.
Maybe I don't know.
There's always a chance. Anything is possible.
Might win if you do that. Possibly.
But I kind of do agree with that piece where, and I think it's a player thing for sure. But for me, I believe it's more of a player issue only because a lot of systems don't do that. Meaning, if you don't know the skill, you can't do it. D&D is a perfect example. There's so many good examples out of D&D, Pathfinder, any of them. But Cyberpunk is one of the few where, you can still attempt it, but you probably have a low chance of success. But you can still do it. And I like that about the system. Hell, if I was DMing, I'd even be like, if you try it and you do decently well, the dice rolls are in your favor. Hell, I'll even allow you to give yourself a point with no IP cost. You learn something. I like that.
I tend to do that too, where I'll regardless of what the person rolls, I might let them succeed at something. It just depends on the RP. I mean, if it's good story and they're doing, they're just doing some shit that just really adds to the experience, then I don't care what they roll. They're gonna succeed.
I mean, rule of cool. Okay, like
exactly.
At any point you think this is just some really good shit, then who cares what they rolled? Who cares if they rolled at all? Just, I mean, again, that's a DM power. You can't have a player being like, rule of cool, I succeed. Like, no. That,
actually,
that's DM power. But yeah, as a DM, if you want this person to succeed, either because it's really cool or this is just like super important part in the story, then just let it happen, man.
Just roll it, yeah. And Lord Jesus, you're right, man. D&D and games like it, again, not trying to knock on them, but that is one thing I will agree with. They've definitely skewed things where, okay, well, we're gonna get the guy who's the best at it to do it, which in and of itself isn't a bad thing, but it does, again, it shoehorns people into specific kind of slots where no one, whether it's from a character perspective, and I don't think that's it, but I feel like because of that, from a mechanics and a out of character perspective, that bleeds into the character where the player's like, well, I'm not good at that, so my character's not going to do it. When in fact, they might have built their character up as someone who would necessarily take that risk. Mechanically, they're like, well, I'm going to fail, so I'm not going to do it. Or because the system doesn't allow you to try because it doesn't have inherent rules for that, then they don't take the risk. Which I think more, and again,
failing at something can be fun too.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. No, that I think that's an important thing for any role player to understand. It's like, because it's a game about rolling dice. You have a lot of times you don't have that much control over whether you really succeed or fail. You can try to control your odds by building your character a certain way. But because of that, you gotta know how to fail gracefully. And sometimes it really helps to make it funny.
Yeah, just make it fucking
right.
Just make it funny and just turn this into some Looney Tunes shit. All right,
that time Gillian hopped around an entire battlefield with one leg because someone shot his leg off.
Yeah, first turn of combat in the session, get a critical injury, leg flies off, and it's like, okay, well now I'm just one leg hopping after this guy and gunning him down.
And he did. To Gillian's credit, he Mr. fucking Hopalong over here managed to gun down the guy, fucking blew his leg off, and he didn't bleed out, which was impressive.
Yeah, which they, speaking of critical injuries, they did make a few changes there, which we'll also get into.
Oh yeah, they did. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
which
don't know
this is
how I
like.
feel about that.
Well, I mean, if you also have red, you could use either system. The thing with this injury system is that it's a bit softer, I guess you could say. The main rules still apply as before. Like how you get them, the bonus 5 damage, how you treat them, all that stuff. It's just that they've reduced the number of injuries, taking off the harshest ones that include like limb, like dismemberment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So instead of like rolling a 2d6, you just have like a 1d6. Both, you still have the body and the head tables respectively, but there are fewer things, and they don't have those like losing your leg, arm, hand, whatever.
Just FYI, I am still gonna maintain the system that I use. So
yeah, we use a bit of a custom system there that I think it's more reminiscent of 2020.
You can still lose arms and legs and things.
Yeah, I think it's fine to use as an alternative because, like,
well, yeah, this is
for some
supposed
people,
to be an introduction for people.
Yeah, and like for some people, losing a limb at the start of a session when you're in a mission that could possibly last several sessions, having your character crippled so harshly for possibly multiple sessions, that can take the fun out of it for people. So I can see why this like alternative to the injury system exists, because it kind of takes that situation out. But again, if you still want to have the dismemberment chance, you could use the system in red with the 2d6, the expanded injury table. Again, it's about like what the DM wants to roll and like what the players want to do.
Right. The bigger piece to it is your player threshold, I think, more than anything else, because I mean, the idea is to have fun. And if your party isn't interested in death and mayhem and destruction and things like that, then I mean then if you run that kind of game, you're not going to be running that kind of game with that party for very long, because they're all going to be like, yeah, I don't want to do this. This is not interesting me.
Yeah, I mean, they'll like death and destruction, not when it happens to them.
Right. Right. Well, that's plenty of people like that, but.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I both are fine. I think it's just dependent on the group, So I like that this different option is there,
Mm-hmm. Something I just noticed, and I can't believe this dawned on me just now. So another thing that the mission kit goes into, which I really really like, is gangs. So a lot of the gangs that you see in the game, Scabs, Valentinos, Maelstrom, they go into those. But I just realized that the Tiger Claws, which is one of the other gangs, at least in that picture, they remind me of the the biker gangs from the movie Akira, one of the first animated movies to debut here in the U.S. I think it was back in the early 80s or late 80s. Oh.
I don't remember when, but I mean, there's already an Akira reference in the game 2077.
Yeah, with the bike.
Where there's a certain red bike that is not an exact replication, but it's very similar.
What page is that on?
That is on standby.
Rather than me making everybody
26.
busy.
26.
There we go.
And if you scroll up, you'll see the Maelstrom gangers. I ain't gonna lie though. At least in the picture.
You mean down?
Is it down or up? Did I say up?
Yeah, you said up.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. So that's the picture I'm talking about of the Tiger Claws that reminds me of Akira, the movie. But yeah, they mention all the different gangs like the Voodoo Boys and Padre and Maelstrom and the Animals and stuff like that. They even talk about all the trauma team and Militech and all that stuff. Oh boy.
Yeah, they do some. There's some factional stuff on page 21. Really talks. So this goes into Night City locations.
Yep.
And then up above here, they do. Okay, that's back. That's the lore piece. So it's below here. Sorry. If I'm making you dizzy, I apologize.
They tell you a lot about like the most important corporations.
Yeah, there you go.
The biggest stuff. Gangs and all that stuff. Like again, like this while kind of being like an expansion on Red, also has everything you need to be able to like kind of understand the setting and the game itself to be able to play with just this alone.
Yeah, and so, what's up, Infinity Core? Welcome, my buddy. Yep, that is pull it back, Greg. The background is a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, so that's the Corpo something 2020.
Corporate Report 2020. Yeah.
There we go. Yep.
So there's if you're looking for additional lore pieces to add to your game, and there's also this
Night City.
Yeah, the Night City handbook.
Wow. That does not like books.
No, it
doesn't.
Not. Night City, there you go. Yeah. So I would just recommend that if you're, this does a really good job but it gives you just a small piece if you want some more detailed background on like the major corporations, the different locations within Night City. Pick up these other books. They are fantastic, and they give you just a wealth of stuff that you can use. So
yeah,
it's my plug for the evening.
Yeah, but another thing that I kind of want to talk about, because we talked about like quick hacks, which I think is probably the biggest game changer, like mechanically in this mission kit. I want to talk about like what I think is probably one of the second biggest things, and that's some of the things that they've done with guns. Because if you remember, if you played Cyberpunk 2077, the video game, you know that guns came in 3 types. You had your smart weapons, power weapons, and tech weapons. Well, this mission kit includes those types of weapons now. So you have, and the way that each of them work is honestly really good. And frankly, the smart weapons now, they changed how they work from Red, and they're actually worth it now. Because like, I'll be real, in Cyberpunk Red, as it was, smart weapons were nice, but I feel like unless you have just nothing else to do with your money, probably not worth it. Because it was like you need the smart gun link. It costs 500 eddies to get just 10 bullets, and all that did for you was like a +1 on your roll to attack. Very expensive for +1 is good, but that's 50 eddies a shot. You're shooting money straight at the enemy.
Yeah, basically, you might as well be shooting eddies at the guy.
Better make it count.
Yeah.
Yes, I felt like might as well use a different type of ammo that has a good effect, but is far cheaper. But I think that they really fixed it here, because now they have the smart weapon rebuild. It's pretty much like all the power weapon, smart weapon, tech weapon. It's like a rebuild that takes 2 attachment slots on your weapon.
Yep. Power weapon. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, just having the smart weapon rebuild, just that gives you the +1. You don't even need smart ammo. But when you have smart ammo, this is where things actually get very interesting. Instead of just giving you just another bonus to your roll, what it actually does is that when you miss a shot, like I believe by around 5, if you're like about 5 or less under the DV you needed to hit, you can actually make another roll to try to hit again. So like that bullet the bullet purge just turns around, I believe it's just a static 14 plus your D10, so you're not rolling like your stat skill for that one. But essentially, it just gives you another. It just pretty much makes your missed shots have another chance to hit, which is really good.
There's a little bit of flavor in there as well. That's definitely one way to look at it, is your bullet just turns around. But it's one way to perceive that is the intelligence piece to it. So you
it
roll
corrects.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it depends on how goofy you want to be with your role play. If that bolt just fully turn around, or if like you shot wide and it just corrects itself.
Yeah.
It does also get rid of like the penalties from like visual obscurements, like darkness, smoke, fog, stuff like that. Kind of like as if you had if you had an infrared scope. It's kind of like having that. So it's super useful, man.
I don't think the intention was to do like a Angelina Jolie and Wanted type adding English from shooting pool to shooting bullets.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what smart weapons are anyway. Like even if you're doing the corrective, like the way it corrects itself, the way like the curve, that's a one inch. But yeah, that's smart. And okay, another big part is that the improved smart ammunition is so much more economical than smart ammunition.
Oh yeah, it doesn't cost nearly as fucking much.
Yeah, it's like 50 eddies for 10 bullets, which is a tenth of the price of smart ammunition in Cyberpunk Red. Like that, I'm actually comfortable spending the money on.
Yeah,
that doesn't. I don't feel like I'm just shooting my money straight at the enemy for just a +1. So that's
pay to
huge.
Win, baby. Pay to win.
You weren't even winning by that much with the Cyberpunk Red smart ammo.
Right.
Again, smart ammo in Cyberpunk Red, if you've literally got nothing else to do with your money, then go ahead.
Yep.
Well, and the economy piece to Red is very depressed. So, and not that the economy piece in here is all that different, but it is different. And it reflects kind of that shift from the time of the Red into, now things have been rebuilt, and the time of the Red is over, and economic prosperity is kind of coming back into play. So
yeah, that's what was one of the big differences between Time of the Red, the game, and now this kind of bridging the gap is the economic piece has definitely shifted, because as Greg said, Time of the Red was definitely Mad Max looking.
Yeah, but we talked about smart weapons. Power and tech weapons are also very interesting in the way that they function. We'll start with power, because these ones are really cool. Because in 2077 game, power was essentially like ricocheting bullets, and that's exactly what this is now. Like it gives you the ability to ricochet your bullets to essentially hit targets that you can't even see. So like,
which is cool.
Imagine like they've gone down the hall and taken a right, and so you can't see them anymore. But you could shoot like a pillar or something, bounce that bullet off, and hit them down that other way.
So if you're a netrunner, you take one turn and you ping them. Then you can see where they're at, and then you take your next turn with your power weapon and.
Yeah, pretty much. You start curving bullets,
bounce the bullet off of something to hit them.
Yeah, like the ricochet. Like I think you have like a -4 to your attack roll to hit them with a ricochet. But honestly, the ability to pretty much hit things that are out of your line of sight, or like even behind cover if you can find the right ricochet point.
Right,
it's really good.
And doing it deliberately.
Yeah, and additionally, I guess this is like a small bonus, but like critical injury damage bonus like goes from 5 to 10. So critical injury is just a little bit more deadly with the power weapon.
That is actually a good question, Lord Cheez-It.
Yes.
And
the answer to that is yes, because like the the mission kit includes a lot of weapons that are already like smart power or tech weapons.
Yep.
They have what's called a smart power or tech rebuild, which I mentioned this a little bit when I first started talking about this stuff, but it's essentially like a weapon attachment that costs 2 slots. So you could take any weapon, get a smart weapon rebuild for 2 attachment slots, and slap that on your weapon. All of a sudden, you can use that shit.
Yep.
I think it's pretty pricey. I think each of those rebuilds costs like 1,000 eddies, so they're pretty pricey, but definitely worth it. These things are really good. Which, I mean, let's talk about tech though. The tech weapons are dope. Tech weapons, because these, I mean, again, each of these 3 weapon types are very interesting, and I think they're all really cool. Mm-hmm. So in the 2077 game, I believe the way it worked is that like you would charge up a tech weapon, and then the shot would be more powerful, and you can kind of like shoot through a bit of cover with that. Mm-hmm. So, and it works pretty similarly here, where you kind of need like a scope on your weapon, but with that scope, you'll be able to kind of see target outlines through thin cover. So if they're trying to hide behind cover, at least if it's thin, maybe not if it's like super thick cover, but you can see right where they are. And so you use your move action in order to charge the weapon. And once it's charged, you pretty much make a shot at a rate of fire 1. So I don't think these weapons are very good for like rate of fire 2 type weapons. But
no, I doubt you
take a shot and it just busts through thin cover like it's nothing. It busts straight through and ignores half of the target's SP as if it were like a melee attack.
Okay.
Which that is also pretty huge.
It is.
Like it's pretty much saying you're trying to hide from me. I don't think so. It's like honestly, all of these are like new ways to try to hit your enemy. The smart weapon essentially gives you a second chance to hit an enemy on a missed shot. Power weapon lets you hit things out of your line of sight, like out of your line of fire. And the tech weapons let you attack things that are like trying to hide from you in cover. It's like each of these weapon types are like insanely good, honestly.
I was looking to answer your question in here because I don't think there's a specific reference, Jesus. However, using the core system of Red, you have those inventive skills with your techie. So I mean,
they're in there. It's not right there. It's more, these are outlined in like when they go into like the different items, like attachments. Because like it's on page 31 where you can kind of like look at the Edgerunners armory. You can see right there the rebuilds. So which costs 1,000 eddies. You can use it on any non-exotic ranged weapon, and uses 2 attachment slots, and that lets you transform your weapon into a power, smart, or tech weapon.
There you go. Okay.
So yeah, you can slap this on virtually any weapon as long as it's not exotic. Which again, like super useful, and like you can just do a lot of cool things, a lot of cool weapons. But I mean, they introduced a lot of like weapons in this, which all of them are those types of weapons. Like a lot of custom guns that are smart guns, power guns, or tech guns. Some of them are pretty cool. I believe there's like one sniper that could blow through even thick cover.
Yes.
Which I thought is just nutty and hilarious. It's like, I want that thing. But so about some of the cyberware they got. Because we talked a bit about the Neuro port and how that's like the new thing that pretty much everyone has.
Right.
But they also introduced some other new types of cyberware that's pretty cool. So I think probably the most standout one is the DV21 addiction save. Yeah, I talk about the immunoblockers.
Yep.
Yeah, those things are a little crazy, but I think probably the most standout piece of cyberware is, if you watch the anime David Sandavista.
Oh yeah.
They have that thing, and
it's one of a kind, though.
Well, first of all, good luck even affording it, because this is a very
Yeah.
special type of Sandavistan. It costs 250,000 eddies.
Well, let's see now. 250,000 eddies. I mean, you just gotta, you gotta do the math on that. You gotta figure that. Let's see. I gotta use a calculator to do it. So
I saw a couple of organs.
A couple of organs.
You only have to do like 125 very dangerous missions with a knife.
Pretty much.
And not get injured in any of them.
Yep, 250K, baby.
This is actually pretty crazy. Dangerous to use, also. Very. What it does essentially is that when you use it, you jump straight to the top of the initiative list, and you can essentially take a free, on your turn, you normally have your movement and then your action. You could take either another movement or another action, which is really good. That's really powerful.
Super fucking strong.
The drawback, and this is the fun part, whenever you use it, you immediately take 2d6 humanity loss. Every time you use this thing, you lose 2d6 humanity. But if you don't have any humanity left to spend, you're taking that roll straight to your HP. So you cannot use this thing often unless you just really want to speed run right into cyberpsychosis.
This is like the the modern equivalent of the airplanes that the kamikazes used in World War II.
Yeah, it's essentially that in your spine.
Right.
So it's crazy powerful, and also just a good way to throw your character into cyberpsychosis.
They even got mantis blades, which they already had in Red. I'm pretty sure.
No,
but these are
not really.
They didn't.
No, they had pop-up melee weapons.
Which,
I mean, this is what I did in one of my characters, where I just put, slotted in heavy melee weapons into both and just flavored them as mantis blades.
Mm-hmm.
But they never had specific mantis blade cyberware. It was actually surprising that they didn't have that until now.
Well, it's not that they didn't. Okay, they didn't introduce it into Red, but
they had it before.
Yes.
Okay. So something that was missing in Red, but it's back now. Right. And these ones are pretty cool.
Yep. They're not a heavy, honestly, very heavy. They're a heavy weapon.
Heavy melee weapon. So
it's an excellent
3d6, rate of fire 2, excellent quality, so +1 on the attack roll.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's decent. But I think the interesting thing is where if you get 2 installments, so essentially mantis blade in each arm, you can use that thing to climb, for no movement penalty. Because normally things like climbing, you suffer a movement penalty of pretty much half of your movement from there on.
I think
this just climb like a fucking insect or some shit. I don't know.
they misrepresented. Okay, here's just a pet peeve for me. I love the movie Ghost in the Shell.
Yes.
But they misrepresented the monowire in there, because there's no version of the monowire in this system is as powerful as the one the dude in that movie was using.
Yeah,
he's literally just chopping through car doors and shit.
that's not a thing.
Even in the
Like,
anime, Lucy had a monowire, and that thing was pretty like badass as well.
Yeah, but again, like even in so you actually got to see the monowire in action in a movie called Johnny Mnemonic. If anyone's ever saw it, it was made in 1995, starred Keanu Reeves, one of my favorite films, cult classic. But in that movie, you get to see a monowire variant used a couple of times in some of the first scenes. But I'm pretty sure they got the inspiration from Cyberpunk. But yeah, they got the monowire, and yeah, the fact that it can hit 3 squares away, that's fucking wild.
Oh yeah,
But
it's
one other thing,
crazy
go ahead.
because it's a heavy melee weapon, so that's 3d6 and able
Rate of fire
to
2.
rate of fire 2, able to do 6 meters a yard, which is 3 squares. So you got some reach on this thing, and whenever you roll a critical injury, you roll that critical injury twice and pick whichever injury you like better.
Oh,
So
I might have to buy one.
that part's fun.
So you guys are going to be facing people with only monowires from now on out.
Oh no.
That's as Lord James. That's mean. That is like the reach, and then the pretty much it's like rolling injury with advantage. Choose which one you like.
I think I'm gonna have to get that on Damien then. Oh man, yep.
It's really good.
I have to get that on Damien. But one of the things I like, one of the other things, and it's not as flashy as the monowire or the mantis plants, but it's self ice. So they've actually come out with a number of, if you look at Black Chrome and some of the other like DLC supplements that they've actually come out with some stuff to protect your your neuroware, your cyberware, from your like EMP grenades and like ion blasts, stuff like that. But now with the introduction of like neuroports and quick hacks, now you have self ice, and it's really even not that expensive either. And the humanity loss is almost minimal.
There you go. Make it easy on yourself, Jesus. Just go pre-order it. It's definitely going to be worth it.
It's totally worth it.
And you get a lot more than just what I've scrolled through is nothing compared to all the stuff that you get. Plus,
you already pre-ordered it? Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So the self ice is that's the cyberware that helps defend you against the quick hacks. Because essentially it acts as a wall that they have to bypass before they can actually use their quick hacks on. So the way it works is that first they have to jack in. That's meat option or net option action one. Then they have to spend another net action to try to breach your self ice. And you can get up to 3 self ices installed into you. And for each one you install, the DV for them to try to breach it for each one gets higher. So pretty much you can put 3 self ices in there, and now they have to spend 1 net action to just connect to you to jack in, 3 to try to get past your self ices, and once they finally get past all of that, then they can try to quick hack you, assuming you haven't already noticed you've been hacked and used your action to try to manually boot them out yourself. So you can be if you build yourself for it, you can be pretty hard to hack, which is good because some of those quick hacks can be really debilitating.
Yeah, like overheat, short circuit, stuff like that. Yeah.
Puppets, where they can control you for a turn, essentially, make you shoot your ally, pull a pin on grenade, do whatever. First, take control of your next action, and they roll using the target's stats. So it's not like the Netrunner has to use their handgun or heavy weapons or any of that. They use the target. So
or system reset. Ooh.
Oh yeah, you first knock someone unconscious. So it's these things are there are quick hacks that are very dangerous. So self ice is definitely kind of something you might want to consider, especially if you don't have very high will to be able to boot them out yourself. You might want to consider that to try to prevent them from getting access to your system so easy. Gives you a little bit of time to try to like find them and do something. High luck netrunners are gonna love Puppet. Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, yeah, no. Puppet is crazy.
Wicked. But also, it does have a high DV. It's not.
It does have a high DV. Yeah,
it can be
so
easy.
it makes me wonder: could you puppet someone that is unconscious? First, take control of that. Like imagine, imagine for a moment one of your allies gets knocked unconscious. They're like, you know what? I'm a puppet them. They're still fighting.
No.
I don't. Yeah, I think you'd have to be. I mean, me as a DM, I'd probably be like, nah, you have to do that. You have to wake them up.
Well, here's the thing, because they're a contained system. So essentially, what you're saying is you're going to run a contained system that has essentially been turned off. So you'd have to wake them back up first.
Yeah.
You'd have to turn them on.
And at that point, it's no point.
Right. Because they're not going to use their skills. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be able to, okay, this guy's really good with combat. I'm not. I'm going to puppet him because he got knocked out or whatever the deal is so that I can shoot back at these guys or, whatever it is that the intention would be there. It just wouldn't make sense for that mechanic to work with an unconscious body. I mean, you could potentially puppet the body, but you're not going to be rolling with their skills.
Effective.
No.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I can see that being up to DM interpretation because the idea is just really fucking cool. Let's be honest.
I mean, it would be. It'd be kind of funny too, but I don't know. I'd be hard pressed as a DM to kind of let that one go. But one of the things, other things I want to talk about is, so in the basic red system, you do have like therapy and you have a system in play, which is therapy, both I think is a standard and then like an extreme version of therapy to regain humanity for for cyberware usage, like when you install heavy pieces of cyberware, or if your character takes trauma from like a vicious shootout or losing a buddy or whatever. But the mission kit actually introduces a different way and kind of an upgraded way to gain humanity back and humanity loss. So things like
expanding on trauma and how to get your humanity back besides just therapy, which I like. Because maybe your character just isn't the therapy seeking type. Maybe they'd like other ways to just take off take the load off,
Yeah, things like going out for like action save a life, or and that's on page 28, Greg, if you're looking for it.
I wasn't, but I will go there.
Okay, or like once a week. So some of that, like, and they actually expanded on it and they broke it down into two different things. So page like 28. Incidences. Yeah, it starts at page 28. So incidences, and then of both humanity gain and loss, and then you have environmental, like long-term environmental kind of effects that can do or induce humanity loss. So just to give you an example, kind of midway, which is like 2d6 for humanity loss, is like, witnessing a gruesome killing or killing someone for the first time. Like maybe you're playing a new Edgerunner who just got accepted to a crew, or you're doing your first job and you finally down a bad guy. That can be traumatizing. Let me tell you, that can be traumatizing. But also, it kind of reminds me of freaking what's his face, Loki's alter ego guy.
Oh yeah,
I remember that one. Fucking scumbag. I stay on that guy.
Look, I mean, there's a lot of cool things in here, as well as the I like the ways to gain humanity, especially considering you can kind of do like a group humanity restore by partying. Jesus, you said like partying like a beast. I don't know if you saw that bit or not, but no, that is literally part of it. Where you and the group can spend like collectively spend 1,000 eddies and just party, and that'll get you 2d6. Or you could go even beyond that for a 3d6. You and up to 10 friends could spend a day doing nothing but partying, and you need to spend up to 10,000 eddies for that, but that's 3d6. It's like party hard, and you're just party the cyberpsychosis away, you know?
That's right, baby. Just drink your problems away.
Look, if you're going cyber psycho, I got a simple solution for you. Just party. Just go clubbing, man.
Just go clubbing, man. Just
make sure you got the cash. Just make sure you got the cash to really go wild, you know.
Yeah. Jesus
but
Christ.
no, and there's also a lot more like besides just partying. There's a lot of other things like, you know, save a life, or maybe you know, you just have a really good time. You know, make a true friend. You know, connect with people, or defeat someone you just really fucking hated. You know, you got that one bastard that's been giving you shit for like months, even years. You finally zero that guy. You know, you could get a little bit of humanity back from that.
Yep. Living on kibble.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know that.
Living on that dog food.
That's
imagine going cyber psycho. Imagine that's what drives you cyber psycho. You ate some kibble, and now you've lost your character. Of all the things to just like the final straw that broke the camel's back was just a little bit of kibble.
Yeah, you just couldn't afford that good pre-pack this month, and that was it, man. You had enough.
Yeah, but that actually is something good to actually like kind of encourage people to spend a little more on their living conditions. It's like, I mean, for my characters, I did do like the thing above kibble, because even
it was
which was like the
generic pre-pack,
something like that, which was still like synthetic food, but it was better than kibble. Because it's like, yeah, I don't think my character would be eating kibble, you know, so I had the money to spare, you know, it's live just a little bit better, even though like mechanically there was no reason for it. But now that there is like a mechanic reason, you know, push people a lot more people to think, you know, like, you know, you're only living on kibble if that's an absolute necessity. You just really don't have the money to afford better stuff, because living conditions are important, and like, yeah, that it should be important to your character to not live like they're in utter complete poverty.
The three tenets to the game: style over substance.
Yep. Style over substance. What are I can't remember off the top of my head now. We just read it earlier.
This definitely gives you a way as a GM to kind of really, I don't want to say force, but it gives you a way to not just give that significance, but to push it into the dynamic of the group. And that's always a good thing. I mean,
style over substance. Let's see. I have it pulled up right here. Style over substance. Attitude is everything, and live on the edge. That's why my rocker boy eats the good pre-pack, baby. He also gets paid more than everybody else.
Right. It's because, you know, it's easy to take that character and, you know, think about it from your own headspace versus getting into the character and thinking about it from the character's standpoint. And you see that happens a lot. It's easy to do too, because you build up a vision of what that character is, and then you forget to actually play the character, and you focus so much on just this vision piece to it. And some people, that's their play style. That's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way you play that way. Fantastic. I like to get into my character a little bit more. I like to, you know, actually give them some life. So
no, I agree. And it's more, I don't know, what that is one thing I do like about the Cyberpunk system that I'm not going to say isn't in other systems because you do have it just in a different way. But I like the way CP does it because you can really get into your character and step into their shoes. Number one, because again, with regards to D&D, you know, it's a high fantasy game. You know, we have never experienced, you know, shooting fireballs or whatever. Granted, we've never experienced, you know, like cyberware and Atom Smasher and shit like that. But it is a little bit more relatable because we've all gone through hardships in life. You know, we know what a city's like. We know kind of those things more or less, and we can kind of it's easier to relate. At least for me personally.
I've been told it depends on what kind of substances you use, but you know.
It's it's true. I mean, if you want to go shoot some fireballs out your ass, you just smoke a little something. Maybe you will. Who knows?
Just
Or at least you think you
man.
will.
Just eat some Taco Bell. You'll be
Taco
doing that.
Bell will do it every time.
Yeah, it's that
Yeah.
simple. Cheap food. Very affordable.
Yeah, you'll be shooting some fireballs, that's for sure. Let's see what else we got here. What else do we have to go through on the mission kit? We can touch on the actual jacket itself, which is the mission, if you guys want to. We're not going to give you a lot of detail because again, this is the mission itself. We don't want to spoil it for people. But if you wanted to, Greg, if you wanted to show off maybe a little bit of Atom Smasher's sheet.
No, actually, I don't.
You want to leave that a surprise for people?
I will show the cover. I will show the cover.
You know, that's fair.
And the first two lines of text.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to show with that, because
there you go.
It is excellent. There is some really good stuff in there, so
Atom
go check
Smasher,
it out.
That dude's a fucking weirdo.
Rob says hide it, so you got that sneak peek, and that is absolutely all you get.
Enjoy the cover. It's very nice.
Yep, that's all you get so far. Hey Rob, how you doing, buddy? But yeah, the mission kit.
You're welcome, buddy.
The jacket itself is really, really, really fun to read through. It's going to be even more fun to play. I will tell you that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot in there.
If you throw Smasher at us, we fight him.
Okay, that's good.
I mean,
I'm glad you weren't planning on laying down and giving up. I mean,
no,
that wouldn't have been very fun.
He's catching it from everybody. Not saying we're gonna win, but we fighting. Oh man. Although to be fair, also for those of you who were here earlier, we did I did talk a little bit of shit about Atom Smasher in the game. So if you have not played Cyberpunk, they've released Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, and they've updated Atom Smasher. He is no longer a bitch. If you played him on hard mode, he's gonna whoop your ass a couple times.
As he should.
As he should, exactly, as he should. Because I ain't gonna lie, they did the balancing a little janky the first time, even on hard mode. But they got it right.
Yeah, I mean. Man. And they got like a couple other like smaller things, you know. You got some maps, you got some like nice little tokens to help run the game for the jack. You got some pretty neat pre-gens.
You do, yes.
Well, which
I don't know.
If I remember right,
either.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think there's a. They were cool.
Yeah, I don't
if I remember right, they were actually. No, I don't think they have much in the way of lore. It's just saying, you know, with most, you know, kind of pre-made adventures like the jacket, you know, they come with some pre-gens, and I think that these characters are actually designed by, if I'm right, they were designed by Studio Trigger themselves. So very interesting looking characters. I think they're definitely ones that people enjoy playing.
Oh yeah, they were really cool looking. They were designed by Studio Trigger, I believe. You're right, Matt. And some of the dossiers in the jacket, like the character stuff, were written, I believe, either by the writers at Studio Trigger or by one of the original writers that worked on 2020, I think. I know someone very special wrote them. I can't
Right.
remember who it was off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But
you're tickling my. I can't remember it
I
either.
can't remember. I can't. I'm gonna have to go back and do a little bit digging on that one. But yeah, there were. I mean, a lot of the like all the artwork, I believe
Well,
in
in
the
the
jacket or in the whole mission kit is done by Studio Trigger. Um,
I'm normally I'm not real excited about pre-gens, but
these are
they
good.
really did a good job with these.
There we go.
And
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
yeah, there you
I
go.
don't remember the name.
Imaishi.
You're hired,
All right,
man.
yeah. And so, I mean, Jesus Christ is also asking what is, like, each of us was our favorite, like, new addition that this kit brings, because he says that his was the Humanity Lost in GameStop, which is super cool.
I think I can't say one. It is actually two. So obviously the quick hacks piece. I think that's a really cool piece, both from a net running perspective and then from a your own perspective of like protecting yourself, with self ice and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. And then the introduction of the different weapon tags like power weapons, tech weapons, and the upgraded smart weapons. And then
Yeah.
they again, Artelsorian did a very good job in terms of thinking ahead of people, hey, who already have like really good weapons and don't want to have to buy a whole new weapon just to have like a tech weapon or a power weapon or a smart weapon. But now you have an option to just spend it. Granted, it's not cheap options, 1,000 eddies, but you spend 1,000 eddies and you can utilize the new rule set. So I think those are my two favorites.
Yeah, like I'm right there with you. I think the quick hacks is super cool. The only reason I wouldn't put it as my absolute favorite is because I don't have a netrunner. If I did, that would absolutely be my favorite part. And I think it is an excellent addition to the game, as well as like giving a little more weight to your will stat in order to defend from those things. Which I think that's an excellent addition. But yeah, the power tech and smart weapons, like smart weapons, I think are fixed from Red. They're I think in Cyberpunk Red, smart weapons were a little lacking in impact. Now they got that
for how much they cost. Yeah, they were a little lackluster.
So a lot more impact, as well as the power and tech also being very interesting, like alternatives to that. Where it's like, now for your weapon, you have 3 very different things you can do that are each like just really cool.
Yeah, and if you're like some of our characters who have managed to, who utilize different weapons. Now you can like my rocker boy, for instance. He uses primarily a sidearm and a assault rifle as his primary and secondary weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You could slap on a smart build on that assault rifle and slap on a tech piece, a tech build on the secondary, and these guys' base is covered. You're in cover? Well, it doesn't matter anymore. I can shoot through that shit.
Yeah, you can,
well, as long as it's
what you can do. Yeah. Except for that, like, one sniper that's in the mission kit, I believe it's called, like, the Nekomata, where I feel like I need to look back at it, but I'm pretty sure it said, like, that one specifically, you can just blast through that.
Well, isn't that a railgun? Because I saw a railgun somewhere in there. I'm surprised I didn't stop to read it. But there's a railgun somewhere in here.
They got some pretty, like, they have some pretty cool weapons, honestly.
Oh, one of the other things, and I know obviously we're way past what is our favorite, but the street drugs. Okay, we're good with this. This is a disclaimer now, guys. Don't do drugs unless
the immunoblockers.
unless you're playing Cyberpunk. Then do all the drugs in the game, not personally in the game. Also, if you are looking to again utilize some street drugs, they actually came out with a DLC. I can't remember it off the top of my name. Hornet's Pharmacy, I think is kind of the name of it. Let me see. Go to the website real quick. But fun fact, Hornet is actually Cody Pondsmith's character, or probably one of them. Where is the DLC? There it is. What's the name of this one? Yep, Hornet's Pharmacy. So if you wanted some more, street drug options, and these are really, really cool options, completely free. Go to website, go to their DLC section, and you'll see it. Hornet's Pharmacy adds I think it's like 6 or so pages, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, of different like drugs and even poisons that you can use. So.
But Greg,
Yep.
What's your favorite, buddy?
I've just been listening to you guys, so I now know what's coming at me. So I am good with all of that. So hearing I don't get to play a lot. I run a lot.
He does.
So I think
go ahead.
I think the things that I find the most interesting in here, I definitely like that this bridges between Red and Cyberpunk 2077. That is absolutely fantastic, and I've been waiting for that piece to come. Exactly. I like the mechanics behind a Humanity Lost that were added in here. There are some mechanics in the Red system already. This expands upon that a little bit, and that definitely, it adds an additional dynamic for your game master. Use it or don't use it. It's kind of, depends on your players, I guess. Smart weapons piece for sure. Because that gives that option to the players, and it makes a little bit more sense. It's a lot clearer and easier for them to use. The quick hacks piece bridges that gap between the game and Red, which is fantastic. Because the Netrunner piece to it is there's always a challenge there when you have a Netrunner in the group. Because it is a lot like running two games at the same time. You have to try to, ideally you're keeping it interesting for the people who are not net runners, and then you have to also keep it interesting over here for this person, and tell a good story that, have those two things match up. Where it gets really challenging is when you have a group of players, like a larger group, and then these players all decide to split up and do their own thing, and you have a net runner. And that becomes, that can be a little bit nightmarish at times, for sure.
We've done that to Greg a couple times.
It's doable. That's the thing, is you can do it. It's just that is challenging for the GM to do that, and to keep the story flowing, to keep the turn sequence moving along, so that you don't have people that are sitting there for a half an hour waiting for their turn to come. But all those mechanical pieces added in, plus the addition of bringing in some more of the cyberware from previous versions. I'd really the Edgerunner piece really fills a hole. That's been, and Artel's been working on filling this by pulling stuff forward. Black Chrome did a really nice job. The Danger Gal dossier really, I think that's a must-have book for any GM out there, because it just gives you such a large list of stat blocks to use, and it makes it a lot easier to throw NPCs into the game, and you don't have to put a lot of prep time into creating them, which is fantastic. And then this changes updates some of the mechanics piece, and really bridges that time in there. I really do enjoy the fact that they took the time to put all that lore piece in there. It's short form, but it really kind of gives you, a new player, so they don't have to have all of the books from like 2020 to get the different pieces. They have it right here. This is the short form of the story of Cyberpunk. and that was
Explains
awesome.
a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, explains a lot of the lore, so you know
Yep.
what to expect. I
Well-
mean, you don't even have to play the game or even watch the anime, but I highly suggest you do
And there's a couple
because
more
it goes over that too.
things I want to point out here really quick. There's also, when it comes to this mission kit, okay, because there's some things that we haven't talked about. We haven't talked about the folios and whatnot, so you get that piece with the pre-gens. And you're also getting some very, very nice high resolution maps. So and that's Cyberpunk, the visual aspect to it, the actual tabletop piece to it. You're getting tokens that you can use to really to mark out characters and bad guys on the maps, and then you're getting the maps. And the maps are fantastic because they give you that additional kind of board game feel to it, where people can, have that physical. It's not always going to be theater of the mind where you're trying to imagine all the little things. You actually have the visual aid to it as well. In the fact that you're getting those maps, plus you're getting the tokens, I mean, it kind of is an easy segue into, if you're interested in like the combat zone piece. This gives you an opportunity to really get that experience with the tabletop, with not with miniatures, but with the tokens, and make an informed decision about, hey, do I really want to do the miniatures thing? And yeah, I think that's awesome, and at a reasonable price point for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think overall, I would definitely say that the mission kit is a must-have. You should get it.
Oh yeah, there's so much cool stuff in it to where, like, as soon as I laid eyes on this, I'm like looking at like, all right, what do I want to get for my characters that I already have?
He's got a shopping list. That's
yeah, pretty much. I got my shopping list.
I mean, well, we have our story is kind of it's in a place where the crew has a ton of money, but it's supposed to be for something specific. I wonder if the old man's gonna blow it on some new cyberware.
he's got his own money.
You see Gilead walk back in the Red Ravens HQ, all chromed up, looking shiny. Where the fuck you get that?
Gillian, I think I can help you out with that, man. I do.
Look, there's the 10,000 eddies for the whole crew to party and just regain 3/6 humanity. You know what? Money well spent, okay?
Yeah.
Take some money from the coffers for that.
I agree.
I mean,
absolutely.
that would not be a bad idea.
Why stop at 10 grand? Why not, just all of it?
Spend everything.
Yeah, just put it all in there.
Grand, get some humanity back, and then
max our humanity.
Go burn some more humanity, get more cyberware, and the vicious cycle continues.
Exactly.
That's one
get
of the
cyberware. Get crunk. Get cyberware. Get crunk.
So one of the GM's jobs, one is to make sure that you're building a really good framework so that you can tell some great story. The group can tell some great story and have a lot of fun. And there's a lot of other little things in there, but another really important job is figuring out how to get the money back out of their pocket once you put it in there.
Yep. And Greg is really good at that.
All right.
He's very good at getting the eddies out of our pockets.
Turns out partying is a great way to do that.
Hey, that's an awesome addition for sure. I did not mention that one, but that definitely is something that could be very. We've done plenty of like nightclub style things. That gives us a new dynamic to use for that. So, and a good reason,
especially because you have
partying.
You have a rocker boy who's actually, what is my rank? I think it's 6 now. So he's decently well known now.
Yes, he is.
Go play a gig, get to come by, have some drinks with the band.
So for everybody watching, here is a list really quick. We showed this at the beginning as well, but here's the list of the items that you get with the mission kit. If I can get it all on the screen at once here. I think so. Yes, there we go. So, plenty of awesome stuff there. Obviously, the jacket is the adventure piece, which, like I said, you're going to have to check that out because that's some good stuff. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. Yeah, all the rule books, everything you need. So, like Matt was saying earlier, you can run this standalone if you wish to. You can use it as to adapt your current or existing game by just adding the stuff that you're getting with this into that game. It's entirely up to you how you want to use it.
And it's also a sizable session too, I believe. And if Rob's listening, he can correct me on this one. I believe, obviously, time will vary, but it's not just a 1 3-hour session. I think it's a couple of sessions, about 3 hours a piece, roughly. So it won't be like a quick one and done.
It's got it's a whole ass plot line.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a whole ass adventure for the players. A lot of cool stuff in there. I mean, a lot of cool stuff in this entire thing, honestly.
There is. All right, guys. So we're at almost 2 hours and 40 minutes into our 2-hour long episode. So how about if we, that's the thing is, we could sit and talk about Cyberpunk probably all night long.
Probably.
But yeah,
what's better than that? Going out and playing it.
Exactly.
Going out and playing it.
I thought maybe
get you that mission kit.
And that's we gotta do that. So that'll be the next step for us is to actually run some content out of here.
I think we have plans to run it next Thursday.
Probably not. Probably be a couple of weeks. I want to get past the 24th. Then
gotcha.
Then we'll look at running it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because I think it officially comes out the 21st. Yeah, give some people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But that said, I think this episode's done. Sit down. Next Wednesday we'll have the update log as usual. It'll be episode 57, where we'll be diving back into some industry news. Maybe talking a bit more about the BioWare situation with the Dragon Age, the Veiled
Guard.
Veiled Guard. Yeah. I don't know. I can't even remember the name of it.
It was initially supposed to be Dragon Age Dreadwolf, which is that sounds so much
way better name.
But
better name.
I guess it's the Veiled Guard now.
Yeah, but they they did. It seems like BioWare, and again, obviously we'll go more into this. It seems like they did a bit of damage control, and they showed some actual gameplay footage. And I'm going to use air quotes there because it was from at least the footage I saw. It was more like walking around and exposing you to the world. And it's still. We're going to talk more on Wednesday, but I'm going to tell you now. For me, it still did not feel like Dragon Age. But it wasn't as bad as that trailer. That trailer was horrible.
Yeah, I think the reason they started showing the screenshots and little bits of video is just to be like, that trailer was bad. This is kind of what the actual game looks a bit more like. Yeah. Trying to show us what the tone actually is, because that trailer did not set it well. Or even the art style, all that stuff.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I didn't. When I say terrible, I don't mean it was like the graphics were ass or anything. It was a good trailer taken out of the context. When you take it out of the context of a Dragon Age trailer, it was a good trailer, but it wasn't a trailer that spoke to Dragon Age.
It didn't feel like it was a dark fantasy.
All right, guys.
Lord Jesus, you hit the nail on the head, and I know I'm not going to take a drink. Dragon Age or Fable. That is a very good comparison.
I'm gonna shut us down now before we continue on and have a full-on episode of the update log as well tonight.
You guys have a good one.
Thank
you for joining us.
we're going to raid into Legends of Abertas tonight, so please do show them some love if you're not already following them. They tell some great story as well, and they also have some product out recently to take a look at.
Yeah, this past October they did a Kickstarter. Grossed quite a bit of money on Kickstarter. I think it was the Crooked Moon, I believe it's what it's called.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening and coming and checking out the Cyberpunk Edgerunners mission kit with us. And get out there and get yourself a pre-order copy of it and have fun.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good night.
All right, that was